Welcome back to Return to Yehovah. Wanted to share a thought that just kind of came to mind, although I've thought about it for several months, I guess, maybe years. There are two major things that the God of the Bible is doing in the world today. Picture it like this. If you imagine the Bible, it's like any book, it's got a beginning and an end. Right? Well, there are people, the Jews, the Jewish people, study or are familiar with the first part of the book, the beginning of it. And then there are a bunch of others called Christians, various denominations and everything, that are familiar with the end of the book. You know, they both probably know a little bit about what's in between or what the other knows, but for the most part they're separated. Old Covenant or Old Testament, New Testament. Hebrew Scriptures, the Brit Hadashah, whatever. But what I've seen over the years here, the two things God is doing. For one, He has taken His Jewish people, not all of course, not yet, but many of them are all of a sudden realizing that, hey, this Jesus or Yeshua from the New Covenant, New Testament, is actually who He claimed to be, and He is actually the Messiah of Israel. And a lot of them are coming to faith in Yeshua, and you'll notice they're not giving up their Jewishness or whatever. They hopefully are realizing that a lot of the rules and regulations that the rabbis or religious leaders have placed on them are unnecessary because they're not found in the written word. But, so you've got people from the first part of the book finding their Messiah in the second part, or the end of the book. And, as you can probably guess, the other part is Christians, thousands of them, at least I have more connection with them, more interaction with them than I do the first group. But Christians who know the New Testament and are very familiar with that, many of them are coming to find what's written in the Old Testament, especially in the first 5 books called the Torah, and they're realizing that is for them. But they also are not giving up on what they learned about Jesus or Yeshua. In fact, they're learning that, the Torah and Yeshua all goes together, and everything in between all makes sense together. So you've got Jews coming to to faith in Yeshua and finding the New Testament, and you've got New Testament believers coming to understand God from the Old Testament standpoint and understanding His laws and His commandments. And I can't help but think of the verse, I don't have it in front of me right now, but where it talks about in the final days God is going to send Elijah, and he is going to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children and the hearts of the children to the fathers. Now, there may be other ways that will be fulfilled, but one thing that seems obvious, you could consider the fathers the people that have had the Old Testament, forever, and they're having their hearts turned towards believers, Christians, or the what's written in the New Testament. And likewise, the children, really the offspring of all of that, the New Testament Christian believers are turning back to the fathers like Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and so many others that are written in the Torah and the whole Old Testament, and they're all seeing the big picture. Why is God doing this? Because He knows a day is coming when He's going to bring it all to fruition. He's got a climax to this beautiful story, this plan of redemption that He's been working on. I mean, He's probably had it done since the creation of the world, but it's all starting to play out, and we're part of history, whether we realize it or not. All I'd say to whoever out there that might be listening to this, if you're not in either one of those camps, Maybe figure out how you can find out what each side is learning, and then you can join and be part of it too. Because God is bringing us all together so that we all know both parts and get the whole picture. So don't miss out, okay? That's all for now, and thanks for tuning in. Shalom.